The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining together as a group to participate in a Libra New Moon meditation. As always, we like to begin with a moment of silence to link up with all other individuals and groups throughout the world who are working together with us at this time of opportunity. O thou who givest sustenance to the universe, from whom all things proceed, to whom all things return, unveil to us the face of the true spiritual sun, hidden by a disk of golden light, that we may know the truth and do our whole duty as we journey to thy sacred feet. That, of course, is the Gayatri. We're told it's one of the most ancient prayers that we have. And if you can remember to take the opportunity each day to link up at the sunset hour and use that prayer, it's another one of the techniques that we can institute in our daily lives to put ourselves in rhythm with the soul and with the soul of our planet. And as we do so, as we do set up these rituals and rhythms in our daily lives, we increasingly become part of what's called the chain of hierarchy, the great chain which unites all the kingdoms in nature, from the highest to the lowest. And we, humanity, um, provide a central point within that great chain as we stand at the midway point. And we also stand as that kingdom in nature that has created the most problems and that have disrupted the divine circulatory flow of energy on planet Earth. And so we're at this crucial turning point in planetary history now, wherein humanity, in increasing numbers, are working together to establish a mending of that broken chain created by the human kingdom. So that as we do that, and it certainly doesn't mean that every member of humanity has to come into the light, but it does mean that as increasing numbers do accept the responsibility of building the individual and the collective onto Karana Bridge, we can together let in the light and reestablish, as I said, that divine circulatory flow of energy. So that in a nutshell is our task, not too difficult a one, particularly as we link with others at these opportunities of the new moon and the full moon, and the daily interlude periods of the morning meditation, the noontime recollection, the 5 o'clock mantram, the sunset hour, and the evening review. As we establish these simple rhythms in our lives, and we become part of the healing process on planet Earth. I'm now in Ojai, California, at a retreat center called Meditation Mount that was established many years ago by Roberto Assagioli and others as a focal point for ageless wisdom teachings. And I'm out here at a wisdom gathering retreat, and it's been a very beautiful opportunity. And there's been a lot of focus on the ashrams and this idea that the ashrams are in process of externalizing a well-known idea to those of you who are students of the Tibetan's teaching. And the particular book in which this idea is brought forward is The Externalization of the Hierarchy. There's many interesting ideas related to this subject, but perhaps first it would be important to consider um, just what is an ashram. So I have this beautiful quote here to share with you. Every ashram or inner group is essentially a reservoir of thought, and that reservoir has for its spring or source the ideas, dreams, vision, and aspiration of the master. It becomes a clear pool of thought, augmented and fed from the spring of many lives, from the pure vision and consecrated dreams of many disciples. To this reservoir of pure thought, every pledged disciple is asked to make his contribution, and if he can do so, it will enable the ashram to meet the need and help all seekers. So this is a beautiful image to keep in mind, as portrayed here so beautifully by Nicholas Roerich in his painting called The Ashram. The idea that the ashram is a reservoir created by the dreams and vision and aspiration of the master, and a reservoir to which each one of us contributes our small share. But as we contribute a collective offering, we're told then we make a real contribution. For it is decidedly not the individual projects that matter in terms of our ashramic life, but only the group projects. So we must always remember that, to extend our consciousness to include the ideas and vision of our coworkers, and to do away with the tendency to do everything by ourselves. And here's another phrase which I've long appreciated. Disciples are assembling at the call of hierarchy. And this is an image, I'm not sure it's clear, but of seekers standing at attention with their arms outstretched to greet the rising sun. In a way, this is a symbol of all of us who find ourselves as part of this collective ingathering of seekers and servers, known and called by the Tibetan as the new group of world servers. We're greeting the sun, the rising sun of the new age of Aquarius that's dawning at this time. It's a great opportunity for us to assemble, to bring our lives and our work into alignment, to work as does the military, perhaps, because we know the hierarchy is a type of spiritual military where there is discipline, there are rules, there is leadership. It is a hierarchical structure. And so we can willingly find ourselves on the outposts of that hierarchy and partake of its vibratory influence, so that we can, as I said earlier, bring our lives into alignment with this higher source and take our orders from within, from those who have paved the way for us and whose footsteps we follow. and who we salute, subjectively speaking, and who's are all dedicated to the great leader of our army, the world teacher, sometimes known as the Christ or Maitreya. And this is a great time of preparation, we're told, for these few ashramic leaders known as Masters of the Wisdom who are preparing to externalize. This is a process that is underway at this time, this transition period between the ages is always ushered in, the new age is always ushered in by the avatar being the one who comes down from far away. And this Aquarian age will be no different. The ancient prophecy will hold true. The prophecies presented in the the New Testament by the great avatar of the Piscean age, the Christ, and his prophecy that he will come again. And this prophecy is also agreed to in the teachings of the Tibetan. So the way it's going to work out, we're told, is that the hierarchy, certain members, 5 or 6 to be exact, are now in process of preparing themselves, because we are told that they have to prepare their vehicles for this difficult process of externalization. We might erroneously have the idea that the Masters of the Wisdom, being such enlightened beings, would have no problem coming forward into our world. But the Tibetan tells us this is not the case, and that they have to undergo a rigorous training process in order to prepare their vehicles to withstand the harshness of the vibration of the human kingdom. Because of their extreme sensitivity, they have to build in certain sheaths and certain conditions within their centers just to withstand our vibration. So painful is it for them to be in association with humanity. So 5 or 6 of these great enlightened ones are preparing now. And if I have the understanding correct, they are beginning etherically to build vortices of their ashramic externalization outside of the 5 primary planetary centers, being New York, London, Geneva, Darjeeling, and Tokyo. So there is a vortex of energy being established, thereby conditioning humanity to this powerful increased vibration, which will occur as the hierarchy begins to externalize. The Masters of the Wisdom will not come forth as quote unquote masters, will not call themselves masters, but they will, through the work that they do, through the magnitude of their auras, they will be able to make, in concert with humanity, an extreme impact. And by the work that they do, they will help to unfold the plan for our planet. So it's a great opportunity. We're in preparation for this process at this time. And so all of us who hold this vision in our hearts, the most important thing we can do is adhere to our spiritual practices and to link up with others whenever possible, because as we work together, we become more fully able to build that bridge in consciousness. This image that I have here is to remind us that we are in this bridging period. We are working between 2 ages. The Buddha um, likened the spiritual path to the crossing of a river. And this quote highlights that idea. He said, "Few are those among men who have crossed over to the other shore, while the rest of mankind runs along the bank. However, those who follow the principles of the well-taught truth will cross over to the other shore, out of the dominion of death, hard though it is to escape." And he does go on to state, in relationship to this passage, that the Dharma, or the spiritual teaching, is likened to the boat that the disciple uses to cross over the lake, to cross over the river to the other shore. So the raft or the boat is the Dharma, is the teaching that we use. And each one of us perhaps uses a different teaching, one which resonates to our particular ray makeup, our particular inclinations. And so the important point that the Buddha brings forward is that when we reach the other side, when we've built that bridge in consciousness and we reach the other side, there might be a tendency to still hold fast to that raft and to place it on our heads and to walk with that raft. But the Buddha says when we get to the other shore, the raft is no longer needed and we have to put it aside. And therefore, all teachings become a limitation if we carry them around once we reach the other shore. And so it's important for those of us in particular who hold fast to a particular branch of the ageless wisdom teaching, to a particular spiritual tradition, to recognize that we're all different. We all adhere to different faiths, to different teachings. And then when we reach the other side, all of these teachings become one and become no longer necessary, in fact. Particularly important it is to remember this at this end of the sixth ray Piscean dispensation, when the line of least resistance is a type of fundamentalist attitude. And as I've said many times before, because I certainly have certain fundamentalist attitudes that I need to overcome, we have to look at any fundamentalism within our own selves, within our own adherence to our own path, in the recognition, as the Buddha said, that all paths are one as we reach the other shore. And I apologize today for having so many quotes, but so often my particular teacher, the Tibetan, says it so beautifully. So this speaks to the theme that I've been addressing here. Students must seek to meet all the planetary changes and opportunities with corresponding changes in their own lives. They must seek those new attitudes and those new creative approaches, which will result not alone in the building of the individual antakarana, but also in the fusing of the many radiant strands, which will produce those connecting cables, speaking symbolically, which will relate the planetary centers and present the medium along which can pass the fiery will and the predetermined purpose of deity. This will bring about the reconstruction of the manifested worlds, and in this task, each and every one of you can have his share. This is a really powerful passage. So let's just look at it a little more. Students must seek to meet all the planetary changes and opportunities with corresponding changes in their own lives. So this really helps us to counteract the other aspect of the times in which we live, which is the incoming of the seventh ray. And the seventh ray energy, one of its lines of least resistance, is a type of crystallization. The form is very related to the seventh ray, and the form being the most concrete of all the planes of consciousness, being aligned with the seven ray, shows us that some of the dangers of this ray are crystallization. The form, the lower level, crystallizes very, very rapidly. And so as this new ray energy comes in, as this new Aquarian age enters in, we must be very careful to constantly be checking ourselves and to be attempting new ways of working, and to make sure that in our consciousness we're not crystallizing. So we have to meet and use all of the new means of communication techniques, of thinking, be in touch with all of the new ideas on the horizon so that we can take from them that which will help us better meet the need in our particular dharma, in our particular service work with humanity. Because if we don't, if we adhere to the old ways completely, we will find ourselves outside of the divine circulatory flow of energy. They must seek those new attitudes and those new creative approaches, which will result not alone in the building of the individual antakarana, but in the fusion of the many radiant strands, which will produce those connecting cables, speaking symbolically, which will relate the planetary centers and present the medium along which can pass the fiery will and the predetermined purpose of deity. So again, new attitudes, new creative approaches. We don't always have to be successful, but we do here are being encouraged to try new approaches. See if they work. See what others think. Be willing to co-create and to build not only our individual antakarana through our daily meditative practice and through our spiritual living, but to produce connecting cables as we link up with all others, and not just within our own kingdom, but extending our connection above to connect with the planetary heart center, the spiritual hierarchy, the planetary head center, Shambhala. These centers are seeking our attention, are attempting to link with us and we with them, and we provide, symbolically speaking, those connecting cables which will relate the planetary centers. As we then extend the alignment to the animal, the vegetable, and the mineral kingdoms, we create this great chain of hierarchy, as I said before. And through this chain, this quote tells us, the fiery will and the predetermined purpose of deity can pass. So we become, as a group, part of this great fiery world that is upon us, this Shambhala impacts which have been occurring over the last 60 years. We become part of the vehicle through which this fiery will can flow. And in relation to this, just a quick reminder that we are preparing for the great festival week, December 21st through December 28th, under the great sign of initiation, the sign of Capricorn. Initiation is possible for humanity. We are entering a time of group initiation wherein during the Aquarian Age, 2/3 of humanity will pass through the first initiation, which will be performed on the physical plane by the world teacher. This festival week, because the full moon does occur during it, is a great opportunity for us to take a collective step together towards this initiatory process. So we have to keep this time in mind. Quickly, another powerful will aspect which can flow through this collective cable at this time is related to the astrological aspects, which are 7 in number, 7 exact squares, the first of which was at the end of June this year, the second of which just occurred September 19th. And you can see here in this list, there are 5 further exact squares between these two planets along the line of will, the sacred planet Uranus, the 7th ray planet, and the non-sacred planet along the first ray destroyer line, the planet Pluto. This is a very, very potent alignment, which is really responsible for all of the revolutionary activity which we see being undertaken by increasing numbers of humanity. So this energy is really related to the will aspect. Um, So if we find ourselves participating in these great global events, we should know that we have this powerful squares there to solidify this will aspect within the human kingdom. Uranus is really related to the new energies coming in. It's the revolutionary planet related to the very much to the sign of Aquarius, and as I said, to the seventh ray. It is the Hierophant. It is the that which seeks to bring in the new order. Whereas Pluto, in a certain sense, is related to the Piscean age. It is the esoteric and hierarchical ruler of the sign of Pisces. It is, as I said, the first ray destroyer planet. It is linked very much to materialism, as is Capricorn, in which Pluto finds itself. So, in a sense, this passage of Pluto through the sign of Capricorn and in square aspect to the planet Uranus is bringing the whole financial crisis to the forefront of human consciousness. And the Plutonians, the plutocrats of the planet, are being challenged by those who adhere to a more Uranian, Aquarian vibration. So it's really a clear astrological indicator of the sort of war in the heavens and who will win. Well, we who are progressive in our consciousness can certainly hold our alignment within the Aquarian side of this pendulum and do what we can in our daily life to allow the forces of Pluto square Uranus to work out in our world to bring about a destruction of those forms which hinder the inflowing light. And then one other, I'm sorry I'm going on a little long today, but there's just a few ideas I wanted to bring forward to remind us of something, that it's not just about the festival week. I may have said this last month or the last webinar, and if I did, I'm sorry to repeat myself. But we should hold in mind the importance of the upcoming Wesak festival, because through certain studies that I've made in the teachings, it's been brought to my attention that the Wesak festival, following upon the festival week, especially when that festival week is a full moon festival week, the forces, the collaborative forces between the Buddha and the Christ, or the world teacher, begin in the sign of Scorpio, we're told. So we're preparing for that now. Not that we can hold to this high alignment, but we can support them in the work that they're doing, which begins in Scorpio. We'll certainly find a moment of extreme focus during the festival week, but then the real release point will be the Taurus and Gemini full moons in 2013. So all of this is part of the preparation, as I said earlier, for the coming one, which will follow upon the externalization of the ashrams of certain members of the hierarchy. And so we all have our part to play in this great process. And we have the responsibility to tell all people everywhere that the masters and their serving groups are doing all they can to bring order out of chaos, to tell all people everywhere that there is a plan and that nothing can possibly arrest the implementation of that plan. We have to tell them that the hierarchy stands, that the world teacher stands, and that he is coming because he loves humanity. That's the basic message that we're asked to bring forward. And the basic work that we're asked to do is now to join together in our meditative effort to link up with all others throughout the world, linking heart to heart. I am one with my group brothers, and all that I have is theirs. May the love which is in my soul pour forth to them. May the strength which is in me lift and aid them. May the thoughts which my soul creates reach and encourage them. Let's align with the lotus, which is the group soul, taking our place at the jewel, the center point of that lotus. And let's link with all the other lotuses, the group lotuses, our group co-workers throughout the world. And connecting with the soul and the need of humanity. And now by extending the group onto Karana Bridge, we make our way into the inner ashram. Taking our place on the periphery of the ashram, but feeling the strong vibration of love which emanates from the central point. Let us breathe in that love. And we lift our consciousness as a group to the great center lying far beyond the center Shambhala. And figuratively speaking, we link through the heart of the sun to the inpouring energies from Libra. Hold the mind open and sensitive to impression. Now we refocus the energy within the group mind, seeing that mind as a clear pool. And we stand with the Christ, the world teacher, and the new group, holding this group and all members of the new group in the light, using the keynote, discover the members of the new group of world servers and strengthen their hands. The spiritual members of the new group bring the energy, the life of Aquarius to the new group, which is controlled by Taurus. We bring life. Now we distribute the energy of love in a great outpouring through all planes and states of consciousness, continuing to strengthen the new group. Now lift the consciousness again into the periphery of the great ashram, the heart center. In the center of all love, I stand. From that center, I, the soul, will outward move. From that center, I, the one who serves, will work. May the love of the divine self be shed abroad in my heart, through my group, and throughout the world. Dedicate your group and the group life to the unfolding plan for our planet. And visualize a radiant sphere descending into the cave of the head. As we focus on the immediate need to be done in our group work, our group life. And now we distribute the energies through the Ajna center, between the eyebrows, into the planetary etheric network of triangles. Visualize the planet surrounded by a network of golden triangles. With the 5 points of distribution: New York, London, Geneva, Darjeeling, Tokyo. Sounding the great invocation as a word of power. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into human minds. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into human hearts. May the coming one return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide all little human wills, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the human race, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Thank you very much for your participation in this Libra New Moon energy, and have a good day from sunny California. Bye-bye.